Anywho, uh, it is what it is. So I stumbled across a marketplace lot that wasn't huge, which I kind of like more and more these days because I am cleaning up, and I'm already halfway through this tote. Is a lot emptier than it was. Am I gonna fix Groot? I don't know. I didn't even build him, Josh did. We'll see. I don't know. And the thing is, I can't roll them into the collection because, of course, these colors that I don't have any boxes for. So I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. So I came across Marketplace lot, and I said, "Ooh, this looks very, very intriguing for me. Not necessarily for anybody else, but it was old school." And I texted the guy, and he wanted 40, and I said, a little steep, little as my doctor said when I eat too much Alfredo, fettuccine Alfredo. Okay, I'm trying to quote Ted Lasso, and it's not working. Too rich for my blood. And he said, I said, I'll offer you 30. He said, that's perfectly acceptable. And then he said, we can do a trade. And I'm going, I don't have video games. I don't have Lego. I said, ooh, I'm intrigued now. And he says, I need filler. I need basic brick. Oh, I got you there. I got you there. And he said, well, I straight up asked him, what's the going rate for basic brick, for filler, for bulk? And he said $8 to $10. And I'm going, ooh, that's way outside. I would have thought 5 max. because it's basic. You can get lots of basic. So whatever. I said 8 to 10. That's perfectly acceptable. I will give you, approximately 3 or 4 pounds of Lego. I measured this box. This is 10. 10 pounds of Lego. I'm going, when I'm looking at the box, that's a lot of bricks. And I guess, I don't know what 10 pounds feels like, but I guess I do now because it's 10 pounds of brick. And so I took that with me. I get there, and he says, before I left the house, got into a discussion with the missus, and she said she doesn't want any more Lego more pieces coming into the house. And I said, I hear you, dude. And again, not for me. So I said, I've heard this discussion before. I consider myself to be extremely fortunate. Again, this is the blessing in my life. Out of all the many, many blessings in my life, my wife really, I won't even say puts up with, although she does put up with it. She encourages me. She will find Facebook lots. She will send me, I'll be at work, and also like, ding, phone goes in, and she, ooh, the interest in this lot? Ooh. Like even at dinner time. A friend of ours sent her a message saying, would they be interested? $1,800. I'm going, ooh, again, fettuccine Alfredo, too much for my blood at this point. A lot of Technic, a lot of cool parts, not older 1977 Technic, but 80s and 90s and 2000s. But I said, $1,800? No, absolutely not. Absolutely no. I have no interest to buy leave it for Jamie, leave it for the Brick Shack, leave it for whoever. I got a room to clean up here. I don't need another $1,800 worth of Lego coming into here that now I have to sort. I have too many pieces as it is. I keep on saying that, too many pieces. Anyway, so this is my wife. Again, blessed guy. So I said, I understand. I've heard this before from other people, where the collection gets too vast, and somebody exterior to the collector steps in, wife, spouse, better, whatever, and say that there has to be a limit. And I've heard stories, lots of stories over the years about the Lego hobby and how it takes over the house. Which brings up, I don't want to even keep on calling him Crazy Lego Guy, but I called him Crazy Lego Guy because I didn't know anybody as an adult fan besides me, yours truly, before the internet. And when I put the ad in the paper, the second time, when I had to pick up track, I think it was the second. Yeah, it's definitely the second time I was living on my own. The first time I was living with my buddies in the house, and they would call me in the CB. Hey, Dave, somebody's called, and they're over there, and go pick it up. $30, perfect. So I was just driving around the town, and they kept on, because we had CVs and walkie-talkies, well, CVs, and marine radios in our cars, and a station back at the house. See, when you live with your friends, when you're in your early 20s, you just whatever. So sure, let's get marine radios, because they have a farther broadcasting range than CVs. So I'm driving around town, and all of a sudden I go pick up this lot, and I'd be driving back to the house. Oh, Dave, there's another person over there. They just called, and they want $20 or $30. And I was showing up at 10 o'clock at night with 7 boxes of Lego in the back of the car. So again, I also temper the $1,800 for the set today, which doesn't even touch what I used to pick up almost every night back in the day when I lived with my buddies in the house. And those were $20-$30 a box. I mean, I get there's a difference between 1989 and 2025. I get that. But when I was paying $30 for a cardboard box of Lego, and now you guys $1,800 for Technic parts, so I have my brain smoke coming out of it, because I'm no. Again, money, time, space. There's zero space in here. There is literally zero space in here to hold another $1,800 for the Lego. None. So anyway, but in the process of the second time I put the ad in the paper, when I lived on my own, a full-time job, and I had a pickup truck. I went out to Selkirk, I told you that story, but that wasn't crazy like that. So anyway, somebody from West Hamilton called me up one time and says, Dave, and I go, what? He goes, I know you put $100, but I want $125. And come and see me. I said, okay. West End, Hamilton, like Bay Street or something like that. I can't remember. I get out there in his apartment, go up to the 8th floor. Well, I don't know what floor it was. I think this memory was gonna remember what floor it was. But I won't say the 8th floor. I go up to the 8th floor, knock, 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 804. Guy opens the door. And seriously, every flat surface in the apartment, and there's his wife, and I think the in-laws or whoever, and a dog and a cat in this apartment. And it wasn't 100% Lego, but there was shelves, there's Lego on it, the coffee table, Lego underneath, all this there. And this is approximately, I think, yes, because I did get Darth Vader and C-3PO at the Technic built, the original ones from, like, I don't know what year, 1990, whatever. The original Darth Vader helmet, all those little Technic builds, he had those, because I got them from him. So, and so what happened was, he said $125. So I get there, and he had a bunch of boxes on the ground, and I'm looking over, and there was a lot of basic, and I go, I'm not interested in basic brick. I have enough basic brick of my own. He had like boxes and boxes full of basic brick, and I go, I'm not interested. He goes, well, I'll throw in these other things, and like I got some plastic space, some town, some interesting things. I said, perfect. And then I left there with a couple cardboard box, like a relatively large cardboard box full of stuff. Maybe it was 2 trips. I can't remember. He called me up a month later. Hey, Dave, you got $125? And I go, whatever. Went over there, and he had more stuff. And I'm going, okay. And that's what 4 or 5 or 6 times every single month. I would go out there with $125 in my hand, and the last one, he says, oh, I just have basic brick. And I said, I'm not interested in basic brick. I have enough basic brick. And now I feel bad, right? Because I got the impression that they were trying to make rent. That's what this was for. $125 for 5 or 6 months. Every month, they were trying to make rent. And he was downsizing his Lego collection to do so. So that sticks in my head. That's one of the little stories in my head, that I do not want to be crazy Lego guy. But the crazy Lego guy, I'm going to mention. I mentioned the various shelves and or flat surfaces in the entire house that I saw, the entire apartment that I saw had Lego, some sort of whatever, mostly built sets, no mocks, which is fine. That's how some people handle the hobby, and I all for it. They also, when I went into the spare room, which is where the most of the Lego was, like, I thought these Rubbermaid totes were big. The totes that he had, you could use as a coffin. They were bathtub size. Bathtub I guess they're Rubbermaids, bathtub size, 3 of them, stack, and that's also without the cardboard boxes and Lego boxes strewn out all over the house. He had those 3 boxes that I could put 3 of me in, each one of them full of Lego. Like you could fit a fridge in there, but they were all full of Lego. And I'm going like, that does stick with me, that I don't want to be that guy. Now, he's a nice guy, and his wife seemed to be nice, and the in-laws seemed to be very nice, very sweet people. But I said at that point, this is decades ago, that I don't want to get to the point where this, for me, becomes an obsession. Now, some people might think this already is an obsession, and I would fundamentally disagree with them. But I don't want it to be where it's a detriment to the rest of my life. And I'm not saying it was for him. I don't know. But I was going there every month for 5 or 6 months to give him $125. And he got to the point where he just couldn't give me what I was looking for $125. And so I said, well, that's been nice. Thank you for everything I've done so far. But that does stick with me. And so I always called him Crazy Lego Guy. Maybe he's not, but I just find it a little bit odd. That whole thing was a little bit odd, not stupid odd, like icky odd, or like Holy Mother Mary stuff. But it was just odd in my life at the time. Because every other lot that I picked up, as I mentioned, the old retiree out in Selkirk, fantastic. and the family that, my kids are off at university and they wanted to, get rid of this out of the basement because we're going to rent the house now. Fantastic. There was one husband and wife. I remember this one vividly. I would say it was a box, maybe a foot and a half by a foot and about a foot and a half tall. I don't know what kind of box they got from the grocery store. And it was full of, even back then it was vintage. It had a yellow 4.5 volt motor in it. They had cut up the instructions, put it in one of those little photo albums. So you get all the instructions, all the pictures from the boxes. That was a waste because I just chucked that. But they had early to mid 70s and into 79, 80, 81 classic space. And they wanted, at the time, $60 for that box. And I'm going, I can't justify that. I've been picking up boxes all over the neighborhood for $30, and those are bigger. And I didn't ask. I just, what are you asking for this? $30, and and $40. I think up until that couple, I never spent more than $40 on any of the lots I bought, except for the guy out in Selkirk. But Selkirk was the second time. This is the first time. And she goes, oh, I know you want, they were sales pitching me. Oh, I can see in your eyes that you want it. And he's, oh yeah, you want it. If you walk away now, you'll never get it. I go, you haven't seen my basement. Although back then I was living with my buddies at the house. You haven't seen my house. It's when I learned how to walk away. It's when I learned I don't need $60 for that box. I have literally every piece that's in there. I have plenty of, and so I was going to walk away, and I said, "Oh well, we'll give it to you for $50." Fine, I can whatever. So I grabbed it for $50, and I didn't regret the $50 because it has some really good pieces in it. And this is 1989, 1990, so I didn't regret the $50. But I said $60, no, and they were pushy. They were really, you could tell that they were in the sales or whatever. They were, oh, you really want this, and oh, if you go, you're never gonna act now. People who push me into something, I usually just walk away. If I say no, or I'm not comfortable, I don't even know you, dude. Your thoughts about me, no matter what they are, I don't know you. Have a nice life, see you, bye. But I did pick that one up. I remember that one. I would say that was the guy out in the Selkirk, Crazy Lego Guy in West Hamilton. That one are the 3 actually. I remember there's a kid. I went to this kid's house, and he had, I guess it's Adventures. It had the raised base plate and the river piece, and the jungle, whatever. And he wanted $60 for that one set. I showed up, And what are you looking for that? He says $60. And I go, I don't think that was the price of it in the store, like when it was out. And he goes, oh, but that's what I want. Okay, well, I'm gonna go home now. so I mean, I have that set. Just whatever. So I did walk away a few times. Things that just didn't sit right with me. I mentioned the time even recently in a Facebook Marketplace. I went out to Burlington for a box, like one of my shoe boxes, which are out of reach now, the smaller one than this. And they now it's $50 because that makes sense. It was like 10 years ago. And it had a lot of M-Tron pieces on it, and that little piece on top, the M-Tron logo on top of that fancy little angle piece that's in at least 3 of the sets for M-Tron. And I get out there, and she gives me the thing. I go, this isn't the one in the picture. And she says, no, like I just give you bulk pieces. And I go, that's not what the advertisement said on Marketplace. It says for this box is $50. And I saw on the top of that box all the pieces I wanted, and none of those pieces are in this box. Oh, no, that's not what I meant. Well, that's fine, but that's what the ad said. I just quote the ad, $50 for this box. I mean, I've seen other ads that says bulk pieces. What you see in this picture might not what you get. And I said, perfect. So I was explaining to her. I said, if that's what you said, I would have clarified that before I came out here. I would have said, I want those pieces. But the ad said those pieces. This is the box you get. Oh, well, give me a minute. And then she looked at the picture and she found all the pieces that I wanted, and I bought that box for $50. And I'm usually not a stickler like that, but especially on that, I wanted M-Tron pieces, and there was a lot of M-Tron pieces in the picture, and there was none in the bin that she was handing me. And I'm going, I don't need basic brick. I don't mind paying $50 for a bin that contains basic brick, but also all the bricks that I want. I don't mind that. Because again, it goes to my friend Jeff. So, it just goes to my friend Jeff. And he built a bigger castle. It's a win for everybody. So, but if it's just the pieces I'm not interested in, like if I see a box of town pieces, and then going, I was expecting classic space pieces, why would I buy the town pieces? So whatever. So I remember that one. There's this nice guy over in Ancaster, and I went to the Marketplace a few times, and I got one of my 6950s, the rocket launcher, from him that was basically complete. After he built it, I got a Starfleet Voyager from him, and assorted classic space parts from him, going from classic space to probably Ice Planet. I got every so often he posted again. I said, hey, it's me, and you want $50? I'll be right there. Or on the way home from wherever. And I think we visited his place 4 or 5 times over like a half a year. He was downsizing those specific stuff because they had kids and they wanted the basic brick and whatever, because they're too young to, as she says, I don't need this stuff. He wanted to keep his town stuff. I said, if you want town stuff, you just let me know. So that was fun. I remember that. He was a very nice guy. And I told him about our shows, and I said, you should come out sometime. I think Brick Fets were going on at the time. I don't know if he ever did. So anyway, so this lot was on Marketplace, and he wanted 40, and I said, it's a little high for me. I said, I can do 30. He said, that's perfectly acceptable. And then he wanted to do a trade at $8 to $10, and I went down to $5, because that's what I would think basic bricks bulk is worth, $5, especially these ones, because there's a lot of old pieces in here that don't look great. There's a lot of new pieces in here too that do look great, Jeff. But there's a lot of old pieces in here that don't look great. And so I 5 times 8 is 40. I was going to go with the original 40 with getting rid of this box, and then I don't have it here in this room. So basically, that's what I was doing. I was more than happy to get rid of this box out of this room, because I got space under my desk now. So I got the rest of the stuff to sort out, but I got space under my desk now. So I get out there, and he says, oh, I got into the discussion with the missus, and she doesn't want any more Lego coming into this house. I says, I've heard this before, not to me. So again, blessed. So I found $30. I gave him $30, and I'm not going to fall on one way or the other whether or not he got a bargain or I got a bargain. I wanted these pieces. Somebody who's going to show, like, will say on Bricklink, oh, all those pieces together are not even worth $10, or all those pieces together are over $60. I don't check Bricklink. I do not check Bricklink for prices. I say to the person, what do you want? And I say, oh, that's a little high. Do you accept it? And they said, yes. And I said that, so we're both happy with the price. And then if I find out later that was an $80 thing or a $20 thing, whatever. So anyway, so this stays here, Jeff, until you want it, because they didn't. So, but I'll show you what I got for $30 instead of. Beautiful sound. Like, I need 2 more of these. Oh, but look how good a condition they're in. That's remarkable, because some of mine don't look like this. But I definitely need to be washed. I don't know what that is. I don't want to know what that is. And he threw in SpongeBob's eyes. I never owned the SpongeBob set, and I'm going, that's cute, whatever. And this thing he threw in, I don't even know what that's from, and nor do I really. Whatever. But I got it for these guys. So I got 2 of these. So we already know where this is going. I got 2 small ones. And they're the right side, so they're the mirror images. So I know I can build that UFO. And then I got this guy, which again, I got lots of, but I also got 4 of these. And if you remember, and I'm sure some people do remember, that I was looking to build the capital ship of the UFO, and I was missing these big panels, and my friend Jeffy gave them to me. Thanks, Jeffy. But look, they showed up. They showed up, and I'm going, this is what happened to my life. No, it would have been 2 years after the fact, because I think Jeff, at least 2 years ago, gave me those pieces at dinner or something. So it would have been 2 years before I got these pieces. But these are the pieces I needed to complete that set, and now I have 2 sets. So I can either build the capital ship again, or I can build the big UFO, which I do have 1 copy of, but I love it. I love that big thing. I will say that big UFO set is fantastic. Although all UFO sets are fantastic. So anyway, $30, not $30. I don't care. I say he was a really nice guy. I like meeting him. I am shocked, actually, just by saying it right now. I'm shocked, because usually when I meet people, like when I'm buying used lots of stuff, I mention the shows I do. I never even got around to it. So I might drop them a line, talk about the shows that I do, like Bricks in the Six is coming up. But for me, this was worth $30 these days. It wouldn't have been worth $30 back in 1989. Absolutely not. I would have scoffed at that. Haha. I said no. And even then, of course, UFO wasn't around in 1989. So anyway, that's that. Wow, under half an hour. There you go. That's it. That's all. I will talk to everybody soon.